Botanic here to do another plant focus of the week. This week I thought it would be fun to compare the Philodendron Rio Sport / Philodendron Silver Stripe versus the Philodendron Brasil. Now, I currently have my Philodendron Brasil hanging in my bedroom, where it gets, this time of year, medium indirect light, but during the summertime, bright indirect light. Philodendron Rio Sport I have living in my living room on a shelf. Now, I've had my Philodendron Brasil for a lot longer than I've had my Philodendron Rio Sport. I have it in this beautiful hanging pot that I picked up from the Portland nursery. You know, it's hard to tell, but I got it on discount because there's a chip right here in the pot. So I don't need perfect pottery, I just need something to hold my plants. So the fact that this was chipped a little bit, I got a really big discount on it. It was living in the clearance section. I've had this Philodendron Brasil now for probably close to 2 years. It started off as just a small 4-inch pot, and as you can tell, it's really taken off. It's really beautifully trailing over the pot. There's lots of different variants in the variegation, and there's a lot of different variants in leaf size. Now, my Philodendron Rio Sport also came to me in a 4-inch pot from Gabriella Plants. I've only had this plant since maybe early summer. Now, on the Gabriella Plants website, the description of the Philodendron Rio Sport says, "This is an original sport of the Brazil philodendron that our wholesale greenhouse is named Rio after the city in Brazil. It has stayed consistent in its variegation patterns and color for several years now. Bright silver and white center stripe instead of the traditional lighter green and yellow on the traditional Brasil." Now let's see here. I want to get you some close-ups of some really beautiful leaves. So here we are taking a closer look at the Philodendron Rio Sport. And you can see that the pattern of variegation is really beautiful. And you can see that the leaf shape is similar to the Philodendron Brasil, although I feel like it's a little bit elongated. You can also see the difference in variegation here, as there is a creamy stripe most of the leaves have that creamy stripe we're talking about. Once again, we know this as Philodendron Rio Sport or Philodendron Silver Stripe. Now here's a close-up of my Philodendron Brasil. The Philodendron hederaceum is a species of flowering plant in the Araceae family, native to Central America and the Caribbean. The Philodendron Brasil is a wild and bold cultivar of the classic heartleaf Philodendron hederaceum. Its variegated leaves look almost painted with strokes of yellow and lime across deep green foliage. And as if that wasn't cool enough already, the stems have a pink hue to them, and new growth can come in with a slight pink hue. This plant is tolerant of many different lighting capabilities, ranging from bright indirect light to medium light to even low light, to be honest. Although the plant will thrive in medium to bright indirect light. I feel like the Philodendron Brasil is one of my favorite houseplants. I feel like it's really underrated. Look at this tiny little new growth. That is so cute. So as you can see, the variegation on the Philodendron Brasil lacks that creamy white that the Philodendron Rio Sport has. The Philodendron Brasil
ranges dark green to medium green to lime green. Some of the leaves are significantly light green with that tiny tip of dark variegation. Some of the leaves are predominantly dark with a splash of the lighter green shades. Each leaf is really beautiful and unique in its own way. We have some completely green leaves, which is probably due to the lack of bright light at the moment, because if you were to place this plant in bright indirect light, the variegation would become more pronounced. Ooh, look at this leaf. Oh, this one's so pretty. Wow. I'm constantly saying that the Philodendron Brasil is an underrated houseplant because not only does it offer stunning variegation, look at that half moon leaf, but it's also so easy to care for. And you can find it almost anywhere. And if you give it a chance, it will trail over your pot and just become a stunning feature in your home. That's our focus this week. We took a look at the Philodendron Rio Sport, or Philodendron Silver Stripe, and also we took a look at the Philodendron Brasil. Now we know how to identify them if we were to see them in stores together. Thanks so much for taking a moment to focus on a plant with me this week, and I'll see you next time for another plant focus. Bye!